Um,
Yeah,
yeah, it was
what was her name?
Amber. So her
Amber.
name was Amber. Let me see. Let me see if I
She looked awesome, dude.
let me see if I can pull it up. So, little backstory. She competed last year. We had been working originally as a lifestyle client. She had dropped, I think, like 60 pounds and
Mm.
then came to me, and then we had dropped like another 20 or 30. Um, and she was looking pretty good. And she took a break for a little bit, and then came back and out of the blue was like, "Hey, I want to compete." I was like, "All right, what show are you thinking you wanted to do?" And she tells me the name of the show, and I look it up. I'm like, "That's 12 weeks out." And she's like, "This was last year." She goes, "Is that a long time?" I said, "Absolutely not. When you've never competed before, and you're probably a good 40 pounds like." Uh, Gap on where we need to be. And she was like, "Look, I really wanted to, I even tried to talk her out of it. And she was like, "I really want to do it. I promise you, I will follow everything to a T." And she does, and she has. Um,
Dude, she looked great. Knowing that,
Thank you.
that's wild.
I want to share, I'm going to share my screen really quick, but I was trying to see if I could find the before and after
Does that give
of
you
the,
anxiety when people do that to you?
oh, absolutely. The whole time I'm thinking just like, don't, because I remember calling her and I told her and I said, "Look, for this to work, it's not going to be easy, and you cannot miss a single day." And she didn't.
Yeah,
But
because you don't even when people are 100% dialed in, you don't always know that their body's going to be,
responsive.
responsive and just like on board with everything.
Yeah. Let me so I just found it. Let me here, I'll share my screen real quick. Oh, here it is. Oh, wait, how do I, man, that should do it. There we go.
Oh yeah, it
So
works.
this was last year, and this was not even the start. This maybe this was top was, yeah. So this was the starting point.
142.
Again, just a lifestyle client, and this wasn't even the end result. Um, Last year she ended up. Let me find it. Oh, here we go. So this was where she ended up last year after that first photo.
Yeah.
So then the goal in the off season was build the glutes, uh, build the back, build the shoulders.
Mhm.
And we definitely did all of the above. This was yesterday. Uh, Whoops. Let's see. So this was the look yesterday.
Oh wow,
Uh,
okay.
yeah, better shoulders,
Yeah,
fuller
way better
glutes.
shoulders. Wow.
Yeah, midsection, arguably just as good, but more definition in the
Mhm,
obliques.
mhm.
Um, and then you can kind of see here like the remnants of the loose skin from
Sure.
prior, and
Yeah.
that's what made it really hard because it's nothing we could really control. Her face was so dug out for bikini. I'm like, I almost don't want to like go any
Yeah.
further.
Yeah.
um there's really nowhere else for us to pull fat. It was just loose skin that hasn't really had time to tighten up yet. But no, she did phenomenal, so big shout out to Amber. So that was fun. First in novice, first in open, and she had the largest open class for bikini.
Oh
Which
wow.
it was a smaller show, but she had six in her class. I think every other class had like four.
Mhm.
And then she was holding down, she was in the mix for overall, just just not quite there yet. But for this being only her second show ever, she did phenomenal.
You
So
said she took like second in the overall, right?
I always hate to say
Yeah.
I think she was in the spot that would have been second. They moved her to the middle, kept her in the middle, and then they moved another girl next to her, and then just
Mhm.
kind of kept moving the outside two around them. So I know that it was. I'll be curious to see the scorecards, which will probably come out in the next day or two. They're usually pretty quick out here to get those posted, but I think she would have been very close to the overall.
Yeah. Nice, dude. Good job to
Yeah,
both of you guys. That's awesome.
thank you. Appreciate it. How about you got any shows for clients coming up in our area? This was kind of the kickoff. And then now I think like every other week or at least over the next few months, there's several shows that'll be popping off for us.
Yeah, I got a lot of guys right now. I got six, I believe.
Nice.
I got you've seen me post Dylan. Dylan
Mm-hmm.
posts a lot of his training stuff.
Yeah.
Raymond.
Yep.
A lot
And
of
Ray's
people know
looking
Ray.
good too.
Yeah,
He,
yeah.
I mean, he looks like he already beat last year's look.
He did. He did.
Yeah.
He's already 2 weeks ahead of
Yeah.
stage last, and we still have 9 weeks. So Raymond, we have Presley. I'm very
Okay.
excited for Presley. Um, my my pro Dave, he's like 7 days out now.
Is he the
Um,
Masters? He's
yep,
okay, and he switches between classic and physique, right? Men's
he
physique and class.
does. He
Okay,
does. Yeah, yeah, he does
I thought
both.
so.
Um, I got my friend Austin. He's probably gonna be a heavyweight. Him and Dylan
Nice.
both are probably gonna be heavyweight. Um,
Okay.
Dylan's father is actually planning on doing the show with him.
Nice.
They train
How cool.
together. It's so cool, dude. It's man, like not everyone can say that. And how exciting and fun is that to share with your dad?
That'd be the one thing that if I didn't have my pro card would be really cool to do. If I hung it
Yeah,
up and I was like, ah, whatever, to one day go back
come
and
back with your
compete with
son.
my
Yeah,
son,
yeah.
unless my son gets his card, and then we'll but at that
Battle
point
it
I
out.
won't care. I'll be
Battle
too
it
old.
out. Yeah, and then I have Rayner. His name's Rayner. He's looking very good.
Okay.
He's got a very unique shape to him. We don't know whether to put him in classic or bodybuilding. I think we're gonna have him do both.
There you
Um,
go. See where the judges like him.
yeah, he's got these shoulders on it. Man, he's just got these wide, like John Rivas.
Mm-hmm.
He's got that type of width and shoulder on
Oh,
him.
okay.
So yeah, he's got a really good look to him too. Yeah, I'm excited for all of these guys. They're all very hard workers. They all follow the plan like to a T. Like,
It makes it so nice. Like
yeah,
having it, and it's not that I right now I think I have five or six clients. A couple of them are new, so they're still kind of feeling things out. But it's always nice when you have those clients where like 160 grams of rice is not 161. It's not one fit. It's 160,
well, it's
and
just
they're
you. It's a lot. It's a lot of respect to us when you put all the details in,
yeah.
and it's a reflection of our name when we put you on stage.
Oh,
You're
absolutely.
pretty much a billboard for us, and man, we're so grateful for all of our clients. I'll speak
Oh
for
yeah.
you.
Oh,
um,
absolutely.
and it's a true reflection of our work and our knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
So when you just bring a guy in and he comes in the right way, and he followed the plan, it's like you didn't do it for them, him or her, but
Mm-hmm.
damn, that's a great compliment on yourself, and like I said, like a reflection of your own work.
Oh yeah.
And it takes an adherent client to display that. And man, I'm so grateful for all guys and girls that just like dial in
Mm-hmm.
and take it as serious as we do,
Mm-hmm.
as athletes and coaches. Because when AJ sends me my plan, or when Skip would send me my plan, like, there wasn't debating, there was
Nope.
nothing. It's like, okay, here's the plan, get to work, right?
Yep. Just
Get to
execute.
start the oven, start the stove.
And that's what I
You
always
know,
think is so funny with a lot of clients that not necessarily question. I always tell my clients, like, if you ever are curious why we're doing something or making a change, like, ask me, because I want to tell you. Like, it's not a dictatorship, but at the same time, it's the ones that you'll write out their plan and they'll say, well, can I do this instead of this? Or I saw that you put this, can I do this? And it's like, um, you're paying me for a reason. Like my
Yeah.
job is to make your life easier,
Yeah.
and obviously to put you in the best possible position to win.
Hmm.
This is what's going to do that. Otherwise, I would have written it with the ability for you to do what you're
Yeah,
asking to do.
we would have put a slash or an or. Hey,
Yeah.
hey, you can have white rice or cream of
Or
rice.
yeah.
But if I want you to have oatmeal in a specific meal, then it's going to say oatmeal.
Yeah.
And if I want something so specific, it's just going to be that.
Yeah.
If there is options, I will give you options. I'll say this and or that, right?
Yeah. Like with a lot of my clients, when I start their starting diet, if we're, not on a tight time frame, I'll just put 4 ounces of protein and then in parentheses put your choice. I really don't care. Just pick
Yeah.
protein, fill it in, and there, obviously there's a list of approved or, preferred,
Yeah.
I should say, not approved, preferred foods. So it's
Yeah, I
like
do
just
the
pick a
same thing.
protein off that. Yeah. I don't care if it's turkey. So 99 turkey or chicken breast. At this point, chicken thigh, lean cuts of beef or steak. Like I don't care. Pick one, fill
Yeah.
it in.
Pick the one you're going to
But
adhere to and not
yeah,
miss.
but when we get to the point where I say I need this to be 99% ground turkey or chicken breast, I need you to pick one of those two options. The option of choose your own is out the window at this point because I
Mhm.
need it to be this so we can get a
Mhm.
desired result.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. Yeah,
So,
I fully agree with that.
all right. Well, I think we got a fun one today.
Cool.
It's what we left off with last time, and I know you said you're getting ready to make some big changes, so I think that will be a perfect tie-in. But I'll kick us off. So, welcome to another episode of Beyond the Bar. I am your host, Devon Grogans, here with co-host Tommy John, and we got a fun one. We're going to talk about home gyms. We had a question in one of our Q&As a few episodes back that specifically asked, where is it? I know that you both have home gyms. One, how did they start? Two, what did you consider to be essential equipment to start with? And three, did the wives have any input about the space and location? So I think really good, three really good kind of subtopics within an overarching uh, question. So
Hmm.
I guess we'll kick it off first. How did your home gym start?
Okay, my home gym started in 2011, 2012, somewhere around there. Um, Let me preface by saying when I first started working out, 12, 13 years old, I started exercising at home. And that was always my favorite place to train at my parents' home, right? And I started first 2-3 years of training was at my parents' house. Eventually, we had like a Sports Authority, which is like kind of like Dick's
Hmm.
Sporting Good. We had
Yep.
a bench press with the plastic weights with the sand in it, in the garage with a leg extension at the end, and my brother and I would train out there.
Fun
Um,
fact, real quick. I still
mhm.
have two 35-pound Sports Authority plates out in my
They were
shop.
always 35s.
Yep.
They were in that skinny barbell.
Yeah.
So yeah, home gyms were always a thing for me. It was always where I was the most comfortable. At one point, I ran out of ability to. We had 20-pound dumbbells, and you can only make 20-pound dumbbells hard for so long. There's only so much you can do with them and everything like that. So eventually, my brother did get me to join the local gym. Blah blah blah. So 2012, 2011, somewhere around there, I was in school full time, going to school for heating and air, and I was working full time. So I had about 45 minutes to train in between school and work.
Hmm.
And that's like no BS 45 minutes. Like literally get home from school. Half the time I didn't even change, right? I would eat
Hmm.
my pre workout meal right before I left the school, get home. It was about a 40-minute drive, get home, train, and shower if I had time. Most of the time I didn't,
Right.
and go right to work. So What that gym consisted of was a deadlift platform that I built. I built it off the ground on 2x2 um, little sticks of wood. The reason I built it that way is so I could get underneath it to bolt my squat stands down. So I
Okay.
didn't have a squat rack. I had squat stands, and the only way to bolt them was to have room underneath that deadlift platform. So
Mm-hmm.
then I could drive bolts through the squat stands. And then I had a bench. Obviously, I had a barbell and as many weights as I could buy from whatever garage sales. I got my first like 300 pounds from Walmart or whatever. Um, and that's how it started. A deadlift platform, squat stands, barbell weights, bench. That's it.
Now, is that now you're talking back in the day or recent?
That was in 2011, 2012.
Okay. Gotcha.
Um,
Gotcha.
yep. So then from there, eventually I invested in a really nice squat rack from Elite FTS.
I'm
Um,
gonna I'm gonna share this real quick because I
mhm.
kind of I'm sure there's a better post, but I just pulled this post.
Yep. So there's the squat rack back there.
Yep.
So that was my very first investment into a real home gym. Um, so I made sure I had the multi grip chin up bar up there.
Mm-hmm.
I bought a big pack of bands. So then I could do my accessories like tricep push downs. All my lat pull downs and stuff were done with bands. All my rows were done with bands. So my bands were like my dumbbell or like my machine at the time.
Yep.
Um, and then I picked up, a few dumbbells from a local garage sale. Um, and then from there, I found I needed more stuff for lower body, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's when my next piece of equipment was a GHR. So
Oh, okay.
I purchased the glute ham raise, and that was primarily what I did for lower body accessories, right? So I could do abs on there, low back, obviously glutes, hamstrings, everything like that. Um,
Right.
from there, I moved on to um, more leg stuff. I did the reverse hyper next. And the way I
Okay.
was picking these things is just what I needed at the time
Yeah, I was
for
gonna
my
say
for my
talk
training.
about perfect. Yeah, talk about what made you to decide because I went a slightly different route and for different reasons. So I think
Mhm.
that's a good topic is to talk about what made you decide what pieces were most important to you.
Yeah, so the way I was doing it was primarily at that time I was strictly powerlifting.
Hmm.
Um, so the best way to find out what you need is when you go to do your program and you see something written in there that you don't have, and you're like, well, I guess I got to do this because the program calls for it and I don't have one. um,
Right.
it's like when you go to do a home project, a DIY project at your house, and you realize that you don't have that tool that would make the job really easy, you go and buy that
10
tool,
times
right?
easier and shorter.
Exactly. Yeah, so that's primarily how I was picking equipment at the time, was just what I needed, um, wherever my weakness was. Glute
Hmm.
ham raise, I knew it was going to make my squat better. I knew it was going to make my deadlift better. Um, and it was all in one piece that I can get the most bang for the buck out of. I knew
Yep.
if I buy that 500, it was only 500 bucks at the time. If I buy that $500 glute ham raise, I can train accessories for both squat and deadlift day.
Yep.
And I'm fully covered. Abs, low back, hamstrings, glutes, all covered from that one machine. Um, so, from there, I moved on to the reverse hyper because, when you're 260 pounds and you're squatting a lot of weight, you get pretty miserable back pumps. And the best thing for back pumps is a reverse hyper, get that
Yes.
traction in that lower back.
Hmm.
Um, it helps not being fat, but that's a story for a later day. But um, yeah, so that's how I started piecing things together. Was you go to use something and it's not there.
Yep.
And it's like, okay, well, let's pick a machine where I can get that job done and several other jobs because you are limited on space, which was their next point. But let's go ahead and start kind of where yours started.
Yeah. So, for me, when we moved into the house we're at now, we had an older shop that was already on the property. Um, we live on the same property as my in-laws, and so we all went in together to get a new shop to put some of the things that we wanted. Just more space, newer, get it out there, and then also have a place that we could have people over and not really be in the house. It's not a large house, so we wanted a place that we could just have, birthday parties, get-togethers, things like that. So everything was going out of the old shop into the new shop, and then the old shop was going to get converted into partially like a man cave or just a hangout area. And then there was maybe, I'd say the space that I have now is probably a 2.5 size garage, like
Hmm.
standard garage. um amount of space. And so I had a few pieces of cardio equipment. I had an elliptical, I had a treadmill, and I had a bike. So those three went in there. My mother-in-law was rehabbing her knee at the time. So she was told from her physical therapist to get something that she could either go to the gym and do leg press or leg extension. So she asked me if I could help find. She said, "Hey, I know you want to do a gym. Can you find me a leg press?" And at this point I had no equipment in there, so other than the cardio. So cardio was in there. I said, yeah, let me see what I can find for you. Reached out to a guy that I'd helped find equipment for a local gym that I train out of, and we had bought some stuff for the gym through him. So I called him, I said, hey, uh you happen to be selling off any leg presses? And he said, I do. I have a horizontal leg press or squat. So you can sit up 90, or the seat folds all the way
Hmm.
back and it becomes a squat, and it's commercial grade, plate loaded. So I said, perfect, I will take that. So I picked that up because again, it killed two birds in one stone. Now I have a hack squat and a leg press. I can also
Yep.
do calves on it. So I can knock out the majority of my legs.
Yep.
The next piece I got was the Power Tech lever gin. And it basically, I think I have a shot of it here. Of me
Those are
doing.
those are nice. I like
Yeah, so
those.
this
Yeah.
does everything. Right now it's seated up. I have the preacher curl attachment in there, but you can take that preacher curl attachment out and you can do leg curl or leg extension
Hmm.
attachment, or fold the seat down to where you're lying, turn around and do leg curls. So
Hmm.
now in two pieces, I have arms, I have full legs. Behind it, where the arms are, you can lay the seat down, you can do chest press, you can lay backwards on the seat and do reverse row, or excuse me, rows. You can do overhead press. So this one machine, and then it's got a cable up top and a cable down low, so I can do my tricep movements. I can do cable curls. This one machine pretty much knocks everything out. So I have
Hmm.
this. I have you can see it back here, the leg press. And then funny enough, I think I got this for like $350, and he was selling a vertical leg press. And he said, if you buy them both, I'll do them both for $500.
Oh
All
wow.
right, all right, cool. Um, and then outside of that, like you said, I just started piecing things together. I said, I pretty much have everything I need to do an effective full body workout. I didn't have any dumbbells, so that was kind of next on the list. So that's
Hmm.
what I started looking for. And same thing, like just scouring Facebook Marketplace. Ever since COVID, weights were about $1 a pound, and now they've slightly gone down a little, but I'm sure you saw since COVID, 250 a
Yeah,
pound,
dude.
and it's just
Yeah.
ridiculous. But I happened to find a guy that was a power lifter, bought a bunch of stuff through COVID, and then just stopped using it. He was back in the gym, and he was like, they had a baby, and they said, my wife wants this gone. So I picked up a dumbbell rack. Um, 10 through 60 pound dumbbells and about 250 pounds worth of plates and a tree for $300.
Yeah. Yeah.
As soon as he told me that price, I said, I will pick it up right now. So I ran and got that. So that basically took me to everything. I have the only piece that I have left. And on the next time we get together, I'll take some pictures and I'll kind of upload what we have
Yeah.
going. Got
Yeah.
most of the mats down. I got it insulated. So it's getting there. But the next piece that I have is uh a rack with a cable pulley system.
Oh yeah. Hmm.
So rather than doing like a functional trainer and doing a rack to save space, I'm going to do that. And then that still leaves me room if I want to pull in like a chest fly or yeah, a fly machine. Um, Titan Fitness makes a really nice one that's plate loaded and you
Yep.
can do reverse or chest. So rear delt or chest, and then likely one other leg piece. But for the most part, for me, I think in three pieces of equipment, I can effectively hit everything. So I would say moving into the next topic, um, as far as what you consider to be essential, I think it goes to your point. It's what do you need to focus on and what can get that done, and hit other body parts as well.
Yeah. 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 It's gonna be your biggest bang for the buck.
Yep.
So here's the thing: legs are very hard to train in a garage or at a home gym,
Hmm.
unless you really, really love squatting and doing lunges.
Yep.
Because if you don't have equipment, I mean, yeah, you can do leg curls with dumbbells, and I've draped chains over my shoes and
Yeah, you can
just
get
did leg
creative.
extensions with chains over my shoes. I've done all that stuff, but man, like a leg extension, leg curl combo, that's a great piece. Um, hack squat, leg press combo, like you and I both have,
Yep.
great piece, completely changes your ability to train legs at home. Um,
I would say
so,
the first two questions you have to ask yourself before even considering what's essential is how much space do you have and
mhm,
how much do you want to spend? Because if money is, I don't want to say not an object, but if you're somebody who can afford to get higher end equipment, so to
mhm,
speak,
mhm,
the Rogues, the Primes, those sorts of things, then it really comes down to what your preference is and what will fit in the space.
mhm,
Uh, I think if you are on more of a budget or you're somebody who is using this more as convenience like I do, I'm still in the gym probably 2 days, sometimes 3 days a week, but it
yeah,
is very convenient when I have my boys with me and I can't leave,
yes,
that I can just go down to the shop and still get a good workout. And so for me, it wasn't necessarily having the best equipment, it was having quality equipment that took up the least amount of space, that gave me the most amount of work,
yep,
um, that I could A, afford and B, fit.
yep. Yeah, I think that's a really good way to put it. So I'm in the process of starting over.
Yeah, talk a little bit about that because you had mentioned that last time.
Yeah, so I'm literally going to sell everything I have, and start from scratch. So all I'm keeping is my cold plunge and my elliptical.
Hmm.
Um, that's all I'm going to keep. I'm selling literally everything.
So if
Um,
anybody's in the Chicago area and needs
yeah,
some gym
exactly.
equipment,
Yeah, hit me up. Yeah. I might keep some plates and stuff like that, and maybe probably my barbells. Because here's what I'm gonna do: we're gonna move within the next year or two.
okay,
Um, and the next home I purchase is going to be the last home I purchase. I'm never moving again. I hate
that's where
moving.
that's
It's
where we're at.
miserable. Yep, I'm not a fan of it. I will do it one more time, and that's it. Um, so I'm going to start over. Um, and I'm going to now take all of the knowledge that I have from building home gyms, you know, since 2012. That's a lot of experience now of what I would have done different. A lot of things have come a long, long way
Oh
since
yeah.
then. Dude, I'm going to buy the Prime Prodigy rack with all the attachments,
Hmm.
and I can fit that in a single car garage if I want.
Yeah.
So The Prime Prodigy rack, for those who don't know, it you can add a lat pull down seat. You can add a
Mm-hmm.
seated row seat. They have split squat attachments, dip attachments, lat pull down. It's a dual cable, so you can do all your flies and pressing, everything,
So
blah, blah, blah. It's a
that's
squat
very
rack
similar.
on top of
Yep.
that. Yep.
Very similar to what I'm getting, but I'm going if you're a little bit more on a budget. So for those that
Mm-hmm.
may not know, Prime, I mean, you can't really top Prime for home equipment and their amazing commercial equipment.
Yeah.
Um, I'm looking at I think it's Mycolo.
Pull
Um,
pull up pull up that Instagram photo you had again of mine.
yeah.
I have the bells of steel all around trainer in the background. So
Oh, okay.
that's a squat rack, lat pull down, and like cable crossover all in one.
See, and that's I'm looking at I think it's Mycolo is the name of it.
Okay,
And
yeah,
they
so
make a
probably the same
similar
thing.
piece.
Hmm.
And I think that one right now is like 650, which fits
Yeah,
my budget
that's
perfect. And
awesome.
again, for me, it's a great piece that if I were using the gym more frequent,
Hmm.
I would definitely go with something a little bit closer to the prime.
Yeah, we're
Um,
talking about my last home ever,
but
right?
right, yeah.
You
And I'm
know.
sure down the road I will do something very
Yep.
similar where I
Yep.
sell it all off and then just go top end.
Yeah.
Here, let me share this. I think this is the one you're talking about. Is it this one?
Do the one where I'm in the skip tank top. It's right next
Oh,
to that squat rack there,
okay.
right to the left. Let's see.
No, I might be going the wrong way. Hold on. Yeah, I think it's down
Maybe.
this way a little bit.
Yeah, maybe.
Had it. Okay.
Yep, right
This one?
there.
Okay.
Yeah. So in the back of me there, that
Yeah.
whole thing. So it's a squat rack. I got the chest supported row attachment on there in the
Hmm.
middle. I have a dip attachment. It's pulleys on both sides and then a pulley in the middle for lat pull down stuff. There's a pulley on the ground, so you can do low rows down there. There's a pulley, and that one's plate loaded. Man,
Hmm.
I have a dip attachment for it. So it is basically the prime. It's the same thing as the prime rack. Obviously, the prime rack is just more, a higher tier. And if I'm going to do this all over again, I'm going to do it the right way, right?
Right. And again, it comes down to also the sturdiness is what I've
Hmm.
noticed.
Hmm.
A prime piece feels very much like an elite piece that you would feel or have in a commercial gym.
Yep.
Everything is just stout. The cable system moves very smoothly. As you
Yes.
get into some of the other types of equipment, it's just the steel is not as thick.
Yeah.
The cable system does not move quite as smooth. So again, it's one of those things where you have to ask yourself, how frequently am I going to use this? And if
Yep.
the answer is almost every day or more often than I'll be in the gym, then save up and go for something like the Prime or something that is
Yeah.
at least a little bit higher end.
Well, you close the car door on a '98 Toyota Corolla. It's kind of shaky. You probably hear the
Hmm.
speakers bounce around a little bit and all the plastic and shit. Then you close a BMW M5, and it's just
Thump,
a solid
yep,
thump,
thump.
right? Yeah, exactly. So
It's funny. I
that's
I worked car audio for a long time doing
yeah,
installations, and somebody would bring in a Honda Civic, and we could throw speakers in that in 30 minutes. Somebody would bring in a BMW, and we would have to charge them triple, and they would get so mad,
yeah,
and they're like, why am I paying more?" I said, "Your car was not designed to come apart
ever. Everything's
ever.
one time use.
Yeah, they do not make those cars to come apart.
No.
So
And
when they come apart, it is a pain in the ass to try
yep,
and put them back together. And
exactly.
that's such a great analogy because that is exactly how those prime pieces are. You put
Yeah.
them together and it is yours and it is good for life.
Well, Chase has one,
Hmm.
and that's where I got the idea. I mean, he's got a really nice private gym that I'm sure you've seen before on his YouTube and stuff. Um,
Hmm.
that's I'm just going to do a very very miniature version of that, in a basement or a single car garage, um, and then maybe I can put my vehicles in a garage for once.
Yeah.
Living in the Midwest, that might be nice. So, um,
Right. Well, we
and
had for the
yeah.
OGs, they probably know, but we had James Ball
Oh,
on
yeah. I
a
was going to mention that episode. Yeah.
yeah, and so that's a really I'll link it so the viewers can click on it. I think this
Yeah.
is a
And
video right here.
if you guys go to his, yeah. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to
So
build,
he's got a single car garage, and you could
yes.
see everything he has managed to fit in here. So this is
Yep.
a multi functional trainer system. Back here, he has a
That's
lying
prime
leg
too.
curl.
Yep.
Yep,
That's all prime.
yep, all of it
He's
is
got the
prime
belt
full.
squat in the back there.
Yep, belt
Yeah, I'm gonna
squat.
I'm
He's got
gonna
the
build I'm
attachments.
gonna build the James Ball garage.
There we
That
go.
is my next goal. Yep.
Yep. So you can kind of see leg curl, leg extension, belt
Yep.
squat, dumbbells, and then off to the other side. I don't know if this will have it in there, but
He's
he's
got
got a
his
rack,
rack. Yep.
yeah, and platform.
See, I don't even
So
know if I'll do a rack. I'll probably do the Prime Prodigy rack. So then it's
oh,
kind of
got you.
like the functional trainer and
Trainer rack.
rack
Yep.
all in one. Yep, exactly. So I'm gonna
In one.
combine his two things um, into one. Yeah, that's my goal. I'm done
Love it.
with man, I have a two-car garage. It's wall to wall with
Yeah.
equipment, and there's a walkway for us to bring in the groceries, and that's it. And you gotta kind of turn around the cold plunge, and like it's too much. I'm done with it. I'm selling all the shit. I'm not moving it myself. I'm like, I am selling this before we move because I'm not bringing it into another home. So what's the other they said our partners and the
Yeah, I was just gonna say, so I think we covered both those really well on how did it start, what do we consider to be essential, um, and then the last part of this kind of whole thing is did the wives have any input about the space or location? And I'll even add a third one and say any equipment because mine did.
I was single when I built mine.
Okay.
When I built the majority of my home gym, I was single, and I had a 2.5 detached car garage and a 700 square foot home. So when that was my bachelor pad, that's the home Amanda originally moved into, which we
Hmm.
outgrew in like months. But
Yeah.
um, my garage was almost the size of my home that I lived in, and it was awesome. I had my sports car in there on one side, and then
What'd you
the
drive?
other, my supercharged Mustang.
What
Yeah,
year?
2015.
Nice.
Yeah, it was a good car. It was a really good car. So that was tucked away on the one car garage side, and then I would pull it out when I was training. But the other 1.5 stalls was my gym at the time. So then
Hmm.
when we did move into this home, I obviously acquired more equipment because that's what happens when you have a home gym. It's like tattoos.
Yep.
You just keep getting more and more. Um, yeah, there were things that she did have a say on because there were things that she wanted to use herself,
Hmm.
right?
What were
Like,
some of the ones?
yeah, like, or that was a good way for me to justify the cost
Yeah.
or purchasing it, right? Hey, like, we really need this leg press hack squat combo because you remember you said that you wanted to build X, Y, and Z, and
Yep.
I think
That's
this
how I brought
machine,
home the vertical leg press. My wife was like, "We need some. I want to build my glutes," and I'm like,
yep,
"All right, now you can."
cool. That's a
Yes.
reason to buy equipment. I want
Yep.
to build your glutes too.
Yep. Got a box so you can do step ups. Oh,
Yeah,
we're gonna need some dumbbells, so I got those.
yeah, right on. Yeah. Yeah, so like kind of back to the first thing of like how did it start? Basically, it started by building the gym off a simple program like 531, right?
Mhm.
So squat, bench, and deadlift, overhead press are your primary movers in
Yep.
531. Then you're doing, if you're doing boring but big, you're just squatting again, deadlifting again, at different weights, percentages, volume, etc. And then you're doing one accessory movement, which was normally chin ups or some type of row or some type of close grip bench press, something very simple.
Hmm.
That's how it all started for me. And then
I I
go ahead.
would argue, I'd be curious to see what you think, but I would argue because I did 531 in high school for
Mm,
football. That was our weightlifting program for football. Was
mhm,
we followed 531. And that is probably the strongest, I think, close to the strongest I had ever been almost in my entire life. My senior year, I squatted 585 for five, and this was
mhm.
at 17. My bench was 365, which I always had a shit bench. I'd be surprised if I could even hit that now. Uh,
Right,
um,
same.
yeah. And then my deadlift was, upper to mid fours, and that was at 17, and that was just doing 531. But I
Yeah.
would argue that if you can just do those three movements or have the ability to do those three movements, the rest is almost arbitrary. Like, even if the goal is hypertrophy,
Mhm,
if you can bench, squat, and deadlift, you are going to grow. So everything else, if we're talking essentials, I would say so long as you have some form of being able to complete those, the rest is just convenience
mhm.
to do ancillary lifts.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. Now my methodology on training is so different that
Sure.
it's rare that I even do any of those things anymore. If I'm squatting, it's in a hack squat.
Right.
If I'm,
But I mean, even a leg press, so long as you have something that
Mhm,
will allow you
mhm.
to do some form of a squat or variation, a
Yeah,
bench
a
variation.
compound movement of
Yes.
variation. Yeah, I 100% agree. And that's how I transitioned into conjugate training because I got sick of doing competition barbell squat all the time. So I wanted to
Mhm.
use a safety bar and I wanted to use a box and then I wanted to use chains. And then, you know, training just morphs, it goes in
Oh, yeah.
cycles. There's no one way to do it. People want to marry themselves to a certain training program or thing. Um, and I think it evolves over time, and then sometimes you come back to where you started. Um, but whatever people are doing at this time, they think it's the best for everyone. Um,
Oh,
if you go talk to a 531 disciple, he thinks everyone should be doing 531. Okay, fair, but that's just because you're doing it right now. But if he
yep.
switched to conjugate, he probably would be preaching that, right?
Mhm.
So
Well, I
yeah,
always say date the program, marry the intensity. Just show up with
yeah,
intensity and
yeah,
be willing to date the program so it can come and go as
yeah, 100%. Because you'll make progress off anything. And nowadays, like, man, sometimes I have trouble even being on the internet and reading like the science versus bro stuff, and they're all
hmm
throwing shots at each other. I'm like you're both right. It doesn't
yeah,
matter. The answer's like right here in the middle.
in the middle. Yeah.
And you're at the end of the day, you're all probably doing the same shit. Like you're just if you guys got in the gym together, like it would be rare that you would debate anything. You'd be like,
Yeah.
"Hey, let's do this next," and you're like, "Oh yeah, I was thinking the same thing." It's like,
Yeah.
okay, well, I don't care if you do 5 to 8 reps and you end up doing 10 to 15. Like,
Exactly.
I think it's silly. I don't want to rant about it, but I see both sides throwing shots at each other, and like it just reminds me of John Meadows. He would just be looking at both people like, "You guys just want to go train hard with me?" And
Yeah.
like, like,
And
what are we
that's really
talking
the I
about?
mean, you're so right. The answer just lies in the middle, which is intensity. And it comes down to
Mhm.
that. And you could argue novel stimulus. So if you're somebody that's been doing, low reps, and you switch to high reps, yeah, you're probably going to see
Sure.
some change because it's
Yeah.
new to your body. And if you
Yeah.
went from high reps to low reps, same thing.
And what
Uh,
about what happens psychologically and emotionally? Like something new and
yeah,
exciting, and you're like now you're trying a little bit harder than you were
it
before.
keeps you wanting to come back for
Yeah.
more.
Yeah. Every time AJ sends me a new workout, I'm like, oh, this is the one, dude. It's like no different than last week.
Right.
It's like, oh no, this is the one. I'm gonna
This
grow
is it.
big.
This is
Yeah.
now is when I grow.
But
Um,
I get excited each time. Yeah, so sorry, I sidetracked
No,
us.
no,
We
you're
were we
good.
were
You're good.
talking about space and our partners, and if they had a say in specific equipment or where we're putting the gyms, everything like that. What else were you going to add to that?
Not really. I think that kind of covers all of it. Um, yeah, I mean, as far as this, my wife was on board.
Yeah,
She knew the amount of space. She's picked out equipment. She's continually asking me for, we got a sissy squat piece because she was wanting to do that. Her and one of her friends,
yeah,
train 2 to 3 times a week, and they needed a slam ball. So I went and got one of those, and they needed something else. So she's
yep.
fully on board. She's asked for certain equipment. It's awesome because some of the equipment I didn't even think about, and I'm like, oh, okay, I could find a way
It's
to,
nice, right?
yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
to insert that into my training. And
yep,
so on some of my ab days, instead of just doing the ab wheel or crunches, I do like 3 sets of 20 slam balls.
yep.
um
Yeah, and as far as space, like here's how that works for me, at least. My wife gets the entire home. This is her home. She
yep,
can do whatever she wants in every single room, and that's okay with me. My space is that garage.
yep,
That's where I get to make the decision of what happens there with, obviously respect to her. But
sure.
ultimately, that's my space. You
Hmm.
have the rest of the house. Here's my little sanctuary. Um, let's just agree on that. Sound fair? Yep, sounds fair. Okay, cool. So there's no kickback or there's no debating really ever from her. Um, because she knows what I'm doing. She knows that's my thing. I'm not spending money on anything else. Like,
Yeah,
I that's what I spend my money on. Like gym stuff and bodybuilding. Um, so she knows that's just what it is, and um, she knows that I'm gonna make purchases that make sense, um, and I'm not just like buying random stuff. But yeah, as far as like the space, I mean, it's a garage, dude. Whatever, it's like we don't have a squat rack in the living room. I may,
yeah.
I've seen people do that.
And we don't have a coffee table in the shop. So
Exactly, 100% right on. Yep.
no,
Although
I think that
although
I think
land
that
land
covers a
and
lot
stuff
of it,
is starting to trickle into the garage somehow, but
right? Never fails. And I would agree. I think the last thing that I'll say when it comes to space and picking equipment and what you find is essential, we talked about, money. Obviously, stay within a budget that you can afford. But if you're limited on space, try and find pieces that are multi-purpose,
yeah.
that can handle, lots of different things. Um, and then just get a few of the essentials, your dumbbells,
If
um, kettlebells, that
yeah,
sort of thing.
if you guys are starting from scratch, buy the all-in-one
Yeah.
squat rack,
Yep.
functional trainer, lat pull down thing that Devon and I are describing. He's going to pick one up right now. He's probably got it on the way. I got the ones from Bells of Steel. It's literally called like all in one tower or something.
Hmm.
Um, it was affordable. It was under 2 grand. You can do pretty much everything on it. And then
Yep.
get that first, get your bench and some bars and weight, and then decide what muscle group needs work, right? If you're like,
Yep.
man, this all in one trainer is great, but I'm missing X, Y, and Z. Okay, well, now I need to supplement this all in one trainer because I haven't been able to train my legs on it really well, right? So now you go buy that leg extension, leg curl combo, or you buy some type of hack squat leg press combo. There you go. You have a fully equipped gym at that point, pretty much, in my opinion, with 3 pieces. Um, if any of us went into a gym with an all-in-one, you know, leg curl, leg extension, hack squat, leg press combo, we could train every single muscle group with those 3 pieces completely. I, I,
Yep.
I don't
And
see
that
what
goes
you'd
back
be
to the
missing.
And that goes back to the last episode that we talked about getting in and getting out and doing
Mhm,
things like full body exercises 3 days a week. If you're
mhm.
tight on time or your schedule just doesn't allow you to be in the gym all day, every day, I can promise you, the program I was running that was basically full body. So I would do upper body push, upper body pull, lower body push, lower body pull, um, or full body. I would do a push pull legs, and then a full body. I mean, there's so many different ways to
Yeah,
work it so that you're only training 3 to 4 days a week and you have everything in one spot, which makes
dude,
it very effective and very quick to get in, get out, and still train hard.
Devin, I got in shape doing P90X, dude.
Yeah.
Like, like you can get in shape
Yeah.
doing
Don't
like
overcomplicate it.
push-ups. People get in shape in prison. Like, come
Right.
on,
Right.
whatever equipment you buy is going to be
Better
that
than,
much
yep.
ahead of having zero. Or, like I said, I started in my parents' home. We had a treadmill, we had a pair of 20-pound dumbbells, a pair of 10-pound dumbbells, and then one of those chin up things that hook on the door that
Oh,
you
yeah.
can do push ups on.
Yeah.
I primarily did those things for 3 years, literally
Uh,
3 years.
yeah.
So we have quick Q&A if you want to knock
Yeah.
just a few of those out.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. So the first one is, and also guys, feel free, hit Tommy up on Discord or Instagram, same with myself, or in the comments. Give us some questions. We've
Mhm.
we've been getting some really good ones. If you guys have any questions related to training, to family, to really, the sky's the limit. We love it. Let us hear it. So, first one is interested to hear us talk about specific food selection when it comes to really pushing calories up. Um, I'll let you run with this one first.
Yeah, mine my food selection doesn't change a whole ton as foods are getting pushed up. Um, I just keep things that I know digest well for me. I I do try to keep some variety, um, just because you still do want to feed the gut biome.
Hmm.
You don't want to starve it. A lot of guys are starving it. With just you can just do chicken and rice, but man, I mean, add some fruit and vegetables here and there every once in a while. Like, please have a potato for once, like just one time. You'll be fine. Um, so yeah, I just it doesn't change for me. The Whether I'm in prep or in the off season pushing food, like foods don't change. I just they stay the same, and I just rotate through foods that you can pick, grow, kill, catch, all those things, um, just real whole foods.
Yep.
And
I
I don't know what else to add to that.
I would agree. And I think one of the really, really important points that you said was foods that digest well. I think as you increase food, for a lot of people, as food goes up, digestion goes down. And a lot of times it's because they are just filling in foods with junk, which is to your
Yeah,
second point. If you keep it clean, whole food options, and I hate saying clean, if you keep it
sure.
to whole food options or
Hmm.
primarily whole food options and foods that digest well, then it's just a matter of increasing those foods. I personally, when I push foods up, I'll talk about specific food selection. I will push carbs and protein before I push fats. And the reason being is
Agreed.
even really for me, I stick to about four types of fats: avocado, um, nut oils. So whether it's olive oil, avocado oil, macadamia oil. So those peanuts or I should say nuts and nut
Hmm.
butter, um, and then things like eggs and grass-fed butter. But I
Hmm.
would include eggs and protein. So I would say grass-fed butter. So real butter, uh, nut butters, oils, and avocados.
Hmm.
And all I do is I will keep those fairly low, but I will increase protein and carbohydrates before I increase fats. Now, once I
Until
increase,
you just can't take it anymore.
I was gonna say until
Just
until
yeah.
I'm yep, until
Yep.
I'm tired of eating the amount of food that I'm eating, or I'm just
Yeah.
ripping through the food and
Yeah.
I'm still hungry. Then fats get a little bump. And when I say little, if I'm eating, I mean, I keep my fats low. If I'm eating 50 to 60 grams of fats, I'll push up by about 5 to 8. And
Hmm.
then maybe a little bit more because there's not much that's needed, A, for satiety, and B, for just the overall purpose of what I need them to do. And it's funny because my bikini girl, uh, the last week going into peak week, I pulled her cardio back and increased her carbohydrates, and she was starting to get hungry. And all I added was a tablespoon of peanut butter.
Yeah.
And she was like, I don't know what you did, but I'm not hungry anymore. I said, your body is in such a finite place that even a tablespoon of peanut butter is slowing
Slows it
digestion
down.
down
Yeah.
enough
Yeah.
that you don't want to eat your arm off.
Yeah.
So it doesn't take much. Anyway,
Yeah, I would be curious why this question came up for the person. Are they struggling to get the food down?
it's
Did
a
they
good
push up
question.
food too fast? Do I coach them? Right?
Mhm.
Is it a digestion thing if they're eating so much food and they're burping and farting and bloated, like maybe it's a digestion thing. Um maybe they need a little bit of more cardio. Maybe they're over caffeinated, right? And maybe they're over nicotined. We all
Yep.
love our stimulants, but like stimulants will put you in a sympathetic nervous system, right? That fight or flight.
Yep.
And in order to digest food, you need to be in a parasympathetic nervous system. But if you're always stimulated on caffeine, nicotine, etc., you need to find ways to get yourself into a parasympathetic, state so you can rest and digest. That's what it is, right?
Absolutely. And one of the best things you can do, especially for both caffeine and nicotine, is just like fasting and not something you have to do frequent, helps with digestion. It helps
Hmm.
regenerate cells. Take a break from caffeine, take a break from nicotine. And it doesn't have to be a long time. Do it
Yeah.
for a week, do it
Yeah.
for 2 weeks. It does a couple of things. One is you're breaking a habit and telling your body that I'm in control.
Yeah, you're doing it on
And
your terms. Yep.
yep, your
Hmm.
terms. I don't need this to get through my day. But the second thing it does is it resets everything. So you don't need as much caffeine when you come back to it. You don't need as much nicotine when you come
Yeah,
back to it. And the
and
benefit,
that sweet drug works so good again,
it works.
Yeah.
Yep, it works way better because now you are more sensitive to it.
It's like why you originally fell in love with it.
Yep.
Caffeine works really, really good. Nicotine is incredible. So like take a pause from it for a week, and like when you come back to it, you're going to remember why you enjoy it, and you maybe you won't abuse it as badly moving forward, right?
Yep.
But that's one of the biggest things I see in progression seasons, off seasons, are people are still pushing caffeine, nicotine, stimulants, and they're driving that nervous system the wrong direction, and they're never in a rest and digest. So you're overstimulated. That's all.
Yep. I could not agree more. Next one is, so this one actually came in through Instagram. I think it was one of your clients,
Mhm.
actually it was, who I helped with some posing, Kevin.
Oh, cool. Okay.
So shout out to Kevin. I think you guys are you got him in a growth phase right now.
Yep.
And his question was, how does he continue to grow without growing his midsection? I would say, for me,
Hmm.
few things that helped was I got away from a lot, and I can't say I got away from a lot of um, pulling movements without stability. So things like
Mm.
deadlifts, and I didn't stop them altogether. I just reduced them and found different forms and ways to do them.
Hmm.
Um, so doing things like a chest supported row rather than a bent over row, because now I've taken my core somewhat out of the equation and
Hmm.
having to
Hmm.
brace that, which can then thicken the obliques. Um, Other than that, I really think, and I think that's a very small part, your waist is going to grow a little bit as you grow, but I think the biggest thing comes down to not stretching your stomach physically, like overeating to the point where
Yeah.
you're stretching your stomach, not constant distension. Um, and then the other part to that would be vacuums. Vacuums made a big improvement in my last prep. I was 4 pounds, two. I was bigger on stage with a smaller waist.
Hmm.
I don't remember the exact numbers, but I did a lot of vacuums and I did a lot of core stability movements in
Hmm.
place
Hmm.
of just uh
Bingo.
instead of just ab exercises. So instead of just doing crunches and things like that, I was doing planks, I was doing the ab wheel, I was basically doing things that forced my core to strengthen and tighten and just build the muscle within it.
Yeah, I don't disagree with any of that. Keeping digestion in the forefront of your mind while you're pushing food, making good food choices, not overeating, like you said, um, keeping digestion the best you can,
Yep.
is one of the biggest things, in my opinion. Um, Not forcing food that doesn't need to be forced. That's another stupid debate in this world nowadays. Like, oh, do you really need that big of a surplus and blah blah blah. It's like, guys, who cares? Just focus on your own shit. Um, but you need to eat the amount of food that you individually need to grow,
Hmm.
um, and don't push it too far over that, in my opinion. Right?
And I'm glad you said that because I don't want to say it's a fine line, but there seems to be, and especially in the Instagram or social media age,
Mm,
where people want to stay lean year round. And I
right.
just had this conversation with somebody the other day. It's most of those people aren't lean year round. They just take a shit ton of photos when they are
Yeah.
lean and they drip them throughout the course of a year.
Yep.
Second, if they are that lean year round, that's probably their job, or B, um, they aren't growing or making much changes year to year. The year I made the most changes, Skip and I pushed up to 245 pounds. I'm
Hmm.
5'10.
Hmm.
Now, this was not a sloppy 245, but I wasn't shredded, nor was I anywhere
Hmm.
remotely
Hmm.
close to it. I still had I had a solid 4 pack ab outline. You could
Yep.
kind of see the oblique tie in, but it's not like my gut was hanging over my stomach. But that was the year that I stepped on stage the year prior at 198,
Yeah.
or 197, I think it was. And then I didn't come into a show under 204. And
Yeah.
that might not seem like much, but at 32 at the time, 34 years old, you're talking a difference of, what is that, 7 pounds
Hmm.
of mass.
Yeah.
I'll
The
take it.
the and another thing is, like, you got to that 245, but you didn't push over it.
No.
You guys got to that point and you said, okay, let's try to make this as good as possible until we start prep.
Yep.
So then you hung out around 240, 245, probably up and down a little bit here and there. And that composition probably started to improve on its own
Definitely.
before you actually pulled down for prep.
Yep.
I've been 240, 245 for like quite some time now. And
Hmm.
like, dude, I'm getting tighter and tighter, and my
Yeah.
weight is not changing at all. My waist is coming in. I am doing the vacuums. I'm doing all that stuff. I'm keeping it cardio intensity high. My cardio sessions are actually cardio. They're
Yep.
130 beats per minute, for the entire duration of the cardio. And I hit the cardio hard, not overly hard as where it's going to take away from my training, but I hit it with intention.
Yeah.
Um,
And I was just going to say, you're intentional about the cardio.
yeah, yeah, and yeah, just don't be in a hurry to get huge, bro, because you're not going to, unless you have some freak genetics. You're not just gonna eat more food and just turn it into muscle. Like it, I see newer pros out there. I won't mention them by name, but there's one specifically. who's been pro for a few years, open pro, and man, he looked pretty good as like a classic guy, arguably men's physique guy. And within 2 years, dude, he blew out his waist so
Yeah.
incredibly bad. Um, it's a terrible look. He's a monster. He's absolutely massive. Even on stage, he looks terrible. He's in stage condition, but he looks fat because his waist is
Yeah.
so blown out. And that was avoidable in my opinion. I think it was about pushing everything too hard too fast. And he's a young guy too. He didn't have to do that. And now he will never win a pro show ever, in my opinion. I don't think he will
Yeah.
ever win a show. And I think his health sacrifice was there too. So
Yeah. Very important. So yeah, so make sure you're digesting. Don't be distended, constant. Um, Push to your needs, don't push beyond. Vacuums
mhm,
and core stability movements, and then limit or lessen some of your core stabilizing pull movements.
yeah.
Um, Keep them in, but just limit or lessen. Like I used to deadlift all the time. Now I'll do them every second or third week on either back or leg day.
Mhm,
Other than that,
yeah.
I'll do different variations that'll target a lot of the same muscles. So,
Yeah.
um, all right, last one. Let's see. Top five favorite skill. We did that one. Push phases. That might be it. I think that might be it.
All right, I got one for you.
All right.
Okay.
The secret question of the day.
Yeah, if you had to hit a PR right now, let's say squat.
Okay.
What song are you putting on?
Ooh,
This will shift like day to day for me.
it will.
So what's yours right now?
Right now,
Yeah,
if
like
you,
we're gonna go squat right now.
let's see, what am I throwing on? All right. It would probably be, and it's funny because I know Skip would probably say the same thing, only because we've talked about this before. Right now, it would be Eminem's Till I Collapse.
Mhm.
Now, if you would have asked me this 6 to 8 months ago, it would have been The Game.
Mm.
Uh, what is it? Red, I think, is the name of the song.
Okay.
But for right now, that's kind of where things are at. I could also probably swing like Enter Sandman. I could probably get
Ooh,
down on
yeah,
that
that's good.
too.
I like that. That's
All
good.
right, what about you? I'm gonna change it though for you. I'm gonna say right now, but then also if I were to ask you 6 months ago.
Man, you're not gonna believe me. People only certain people know what kind of music I listen to during
Hakuna
really
Matata.
dude, so during really heavy shit, like my powerlifting days, like we're talking 1 rep max squat, things like
Sure.
that. I will put on things like if we were gonna do a 1 rep max squat right now, I would listen to all sorts of different music on the way up. But
Hmm.
the top set right now, it would be either Changes by Charles Bradley,
Oh, okay.
right? It's actually a Ozzy song, and
Hmm.
Charles Bradley remade the song. Um, or it'd be Into the Mystic by Van Morrison.
Oh,
So
okay.
most of the time, I'm listening to slow,
Yeah.
emotional music because I don't need to amp myself up more than I already amp myself up.
See, and that's I agree. It's funny to me, not really funny, is I don't necessarily do it for the aggression. I find that I focus better, and it was something that when I was big into snowboarding,
Hmm.
um, I would get songs that I needed them to be higher tempo. And I
Yes,
don't know if it's just because of my ADHD, but the higher tempo actually allows me to
to
almost like
focus.
to focus. Yeah.
Mhm.
Whereas I will listen to slow music too. I just can't do it for a top set. If I'm doing my ancillaries and different things like that, slow all day because that helps me get into more of a rhythm. But when I need to like shoot something about higher tempo music just helps kind of pull that in.
Mhm. Yeah, so like 6 months ago, it would be Annie Up.
There we go.
I'd be all
MOP, let's
yeah,
go.
I'd be all on that.
Let's
Yeah,
go.
but it changes like, and it changes what I'm doing. Like
That
if
was
I'm
one of my
doing
favorite drop-in songs when I was sitting at the
100%,
top of the mountain
yeah,
getting ready to go through a park
yep,
run.
yeah,
MOP, Annie up.
yep, yeah. So it's like certain movements and certain rep ranges, I need something different. Like
Yeah,
max effort deadlift, dude. In my mind, I'm tearing shit apart. I'm thinking of, my best friend dying. I'm thinking of terrible, awful things. So I need something to slow me down and balance that
I could see that.
because I'm already heightened. I need something to bring me down. The worst thing I could do is put on like, you know, Pantera or something because I'm already there. I'm
I
already
would
at
agree. Now, if
Pantera.
I go overly aggressive, even if it's
Yes.
high tempo,
Yeah.
it will I'm
Yeah.
thrown off. It
Yeah.
has
I'll
to be
do
just
I'll do
right in
something
that.
silly.
Yep.
Yeah. So then like, if I'm going for a rest pause set, I put on some Lil Wayne or something,
There
Eminem,
we
like
go.
you said, I'll do some of that stuff. But like certain movements, I remember the first time I pulled 700, I was listening to "Where's My Mind" by the Pixies, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that was the first song. That was the song I ever pulled 700 to. Um, First time I ever pulled 600 was "Sail" by Imagine Dragons, I think, right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But yeah, just I can remember all these songs with the benchmarks, like
Mm-hmm.
um, first time I squatted 600 was Into the Mystic. And that was actually our wedding song, Amanda and I's wedding song. So, but yeah, just like, I don't know, just different songs for different. I was very curious what you'd say because
Yeah.
everyone's is going to be different. I
Mm-hmm.
remember one of my favorite videos, Elite FTS. Dave did a squat set of like 50 reps with like, I don't know, bunch of chains and 600-pound squat safety bar to a box. He did like 50 reps and like he falls over the ground. He's like puking and shit, and his headphones fell off. And someone like zooms in on the headphones, and it's Katy Perry playing.
That's funny.
Just like, just shit like that just cracks me up.
I love it. Well, we'll have to get some more questions. So make sure you guys are
Yep.
dropping questions. Tommy, let them know where they can find you.
Yep. Tommy John Coaching, Instagram, www.tommyjohncoaching.com, and the Chase Irons Discord. I am the official coach in the Chase Irons Discord. Visit his channel, join his membership, join the Discord. We'll see you in there. How about you, Devon?
For sure. So you can catch me on Instagram, dgrow39, or you can find me on my website, nxtlevel-training.com, or shoot me an email at devon@nxtlevel-training.com. So that does it for another episode of Beyond the Bar. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and ring the bell, and we will catch you guys next time.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. Leave some comments.
Yeah, yeah. All right.